welcome to everyone, coins of the vault and viewers alike. I am Tatsumari, and welcome to the very special edition of, I guess you could call it the Dragon Scratch series. I like to call it. Um, the I'm actually trying something out a little different here on my streaming software, so forgive me if it's a little rough at first, but I'm trying something a little different. Um, Today, we are going to be editing Chapter 17 of Maplestory the Novel as we get ready to do stuff further down the line. Um, Unfortunately, there won't be any background music for you guys to listen to. However, if you do want to listen to something along the way, along with me, you can check out the description below in this stream right here of a playlist of all kinds of music that I have found all across YouTube that I like to listen to while I'm writing, while I'm playing MapleStory, while I'm pretty much doing just whatever. Um, it's a playlist called Writing Music, and I am currently listening to the video called Thunder Warrior. Um, I'm listening to the song that starts about 6 minutes in, so you can check that out and listen along if you so desire. But for now, let us get to the actual editing. Um, doesn't appear that we have a lot of viewers at the moment, though I should more pop in. Um, I'm just here editing, and if we so happen to get to a point where we're going to have a conversation of some kind, by all means, that'd be cool. But again, mostly I'm here for editing the chapter, and if you so desire, listen along the music. And for those of you who are here live, I guess, you can also get a preview of the upcoming chapter live before it ever goes to a video. If you do want to read ahead, you can. This live chapter right now is up for your viewing pleasure up on fanfiction.net. I believe there is also a link down below for you to use that if you sort of desire to read ahead. But this is going to be the new one, freshly edited with all the mistakes that you can kind of see highlighted here. To help me along with this, I am using Grammarly along with my own just personal knowledge. So, thanks for coming, and I hope you're at least mildly entertained by what you see here today. All right. So, and I'll be reading aloud just to kind of as I go along, so that way it is I can hear what I'm saying. So that way, it by the time it's all said and done, it'll sound right. All right. So, Tahir huffed. Escorting a trade caravan wasn't what he had in mind for himself, especially since it was. Oh, okay, so probably want to do this. So, escorting a trade caravan wasn't what he had in mind for himself, especially since it was what he despised about the Aurora. But the declaration from that sect 12 years ago only steeled him. He had to do it now. Let's see. Get this, okay? He had to do it now. Everyone had to protect themselves since that sect wasn't doing it anymore. Everyone had to protect themselves since that sect wasn't doing it anymore. The worst part about it was that the sect simply disappeared off the face of the world when it needed them most. Especially with the steady rise in creatures shrouded in shadows appearing. Steady rise in creatures shrouded in shadows. Okay, that sounds a little better. What does that even mean? Ultimate light can only be found in ultimate darkness. What nonsense. Okay, so... let's see. No, well, that's the exact quote, basically, so I'm going to leave that alone. Let's see. Okay, there we go. His thoughts usually kept him occupied during the long trips as he had where let's see. His thoughts usually kept him occupied during the long trips where he acted as an escort for merchants and transport, bringing food from the holy city of Orion. The famine from years ago had let's see. The famine from years ago seemed to slow down its intensity, but was still getting worse. Only Orion and a faraway continent known as the Ideal States were able to grow and produce enough food. What's this say? Okay. The only places able to grow enough food were Orion and a faraway continent known as the Ideal States. Okay, let's see. What's going on here? Okay. Get rid of the comma. Okay. That sect disappearing didn't help matters at all. Let's see. Let's try something a little different here. Those cowards. There we go. Those cowards disappearing didn't help matters at all. We shall make this italic because Tahir is thinking. Tahir thought. Looking over the cart, heavily laden with grain, potatoes, and fresh water. Though Arentia was known for its natural spring of water around the palace, there wasn't enough flowing water to sustain all the people of the city. Thus, fresh water would have to be brought in. Oh, we got a viewer in the chat. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're at least mildly entertained by what you see here today. Fresh water to what the spring was lacking. City's people, okay. Though Arentia was known for its natural spring of water around the palace, there wasn't enough flowing water to sustain all of the city's people. Oh, okay. There wasn't enough flowing... Okay. There wasn't enough water to sustain the city's people. Thus, merchants would bring fresh water to supplement what the spring was lacking. Wells dotting the city had either begun to run dangerously low or had begun to foul. My friend, are you all right? You seem lost in thought, the transport driver asked. Scooting... No, we'll leave that. Over in the seat to better hear Tahir speak. Nothing of importance. Nothing that is of importance. Nothing important. Let's see. Let's rewrite that. It's nothing. Nope. Nothing important. Oops. My mind tends to wander during the long journeys, he answered, pulling up his scarf as a gust of wind passed, bringing stinging, carrying, he answered, pulling up his scarf as a gust of wind passed, carrying stinging grains of sand with it. Tahir tied it around his face in hopes that the driver would leave him be, but was sadly disappointed. Ah, yes, my mind too wanders at times like this. I often think of my son and his family back home on the Isle of Maples. Let's see, that shouldn't be capitalized. He has made a good home for himself there. Tahir absently tuned out the driver. On the Isle of Maples. Okay, there we go. Tahir absently tuned out the driver, concentrating on his steps in the sand so as not to think about his own wife and daughter. Yes, time had helped heal. Let's see, this probably should be a news thing. There we go. Yes, time had helped heal the pain of their loss, but not the ire. His hand reached to his belt where his former friend's dagger hung, reminding him of the vow he took to protect the people okay, reminding him of the vow he took to protect the people and kill the clerics of the sect. The cult. Let's call it a cult instead. His thoughts were interrupted when the foot of the driver punted his shoulder, nearly knocking him into the sand. What are you doing? Don't get so lost in your thoughts that you forgo what I paid you for, the driver shouted, pointing to something ahead of them. Tahir reached for his dagger and narrowed his eyes to better see the creatures coming towards them. There looked to be a swarm of creatures cloaked in shadows coming for them over the dunes. But the more that Tahir looked, the more that he No. We want to get rid of that. But the more Tahir looked, the more he realized the creatures were coming at them from... approaching. The creatures were approaching them from all sides. The first scorpion-like creature burst from under the sand near the wagon, spooking the horse. Tahir clambered over the cart, drawing his dagger and plunging it into where he thought the heart would be. The creature reared and squealed in pain, swinging massive claws and stinger-armed tail, trying to hit Tahir before slumping to the ground. Okay. Yeah, a stinger-armed tail, okay. Tahir pulled his dagger out just as a group of impossibly large desert wasps came buzzing down. Let's see. He swung his dagger left and right, drawing a small sword from his hip and cutting through the wasps with ease. Get this cart moving! Tahir screamed, jamming his dagger through the chest of another scorpion. I can't! There are too many ahead of us! The driver called back, struggling to keep the horse under his control. Oh, by the way, I guess I should mention that if I do sound a little different than normally on the streams, I am using a slightly different microphone. This is my headset microphone. It is a little easier to use. It stays closer to my face most of the time, just so that way I can lean into the screen and see what I'm doing rather than having kind of like fading in and out of, visual or hearing range of the thing. So that's why I sound different. Okay. Can't. There are too many ahead of us, the driver called back, struggling to keep the horse under his control. Tahir growled as he jumped in front of the horse, stabbing and cutting through the creatures that came at them. As he killed the last one, he killed the last insect. He slapped the horse's flank, instantly lurching the cart into motion, bolting for the gate of Orentia. Let's see. Making it bolt for the gate of Orentia. Tahir took up a position on the cart, standing haphazardly on a sack of wheat and potatoes, cutting through the wasps and scorpions that came near enough. The cart hit a rock in the path, jolting Tahir off into a waiting scorpion's tail that pierced into his bicep, swelling as poison flooded it. Tahir shouted in pain and anger, slicing through the stinger to cut it off. He began running for the cart as a dozen wasps gave chase. The scorpion's claws snapped at him as he ran, but only missed him as he ran until a second scorpion tried to tackle him. The scorpions collided and began to fight as Tahir made it back to the cart, cutting through the wasps that were giving chase. As they neared the threshold of Arentia, the creatures suddenly stopped pursuing, as if they were in pain. Tahir looked back with curiosity at their behavior when he noticed movement on a dune some distance away. It almost looked as if a person, dressed in a dark cloak, turned and left. Was someone watching them? The throbbing in his arm brought him back to his current situation. With one quick motion, Tahir pulled out what remained of the stinger, then... Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. Tahir pulled out what remained of the stinger, then cut through the skin on his bicep. Okay. And then... Tahir pulled out what remained of the stinger and then cut through the skin on his bicep. Thick black goop oozed from it, like pus, making him gag as it poured onto the sands. Onto the sand. Okay. The smell made it even worse. What the heck? That's weird. Okay. Rotting flesh mixed with burning hair. Ugh. With pure force of will, Tahir squeezed out what remained, sucking out the last bit, doing... Unfortunately, doing so made him vomit. Yep, I figured I spelled it wrong. I can words. Are you alright, my friend? Did one of those creatures get you? It's nothing, just a scratch, he answered. The driver called. It's nothing, just a scratch, Tahir answered, wiping his lip and rinsing his... and rinsing his mouth with water from his water skin. That is no scratch. I can smell it from here, and we have a headwind. Okay. the driver pressed. Tahir ignored him, taking a cloth from his knapsack and wrapping his arm. I'm fine. I'll see a healer once we have the food delivered. He barked, noting that his arm he barked, noting that his arm was beginning to itch. Maybe it was just the effects of the poison in his arm. A healer should be able to give me an antidote, and I'll be fine. Oops. There we go. A healer should be able to give me an antidote, and I'll be fine. He thought. But the sight of that thick black goo pouring from his arm had him worried. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Worried him. He'd been stung before, bitten even, but none of the creatures had anything like this. In fact, thinking back over the creatures he had killed, something seemed different about them. Okay, let's try. Thinking back over the creatures he had killed, something seemed different about them. Now that I think about it, the creatures on the last few escorts I have encountered have been changing as well. Let's see. Let me make sure. Now that I think about it, the creatures on the last few escorts I have encountered have also changed. The thought stuck with him until they arrived at the marketplace. Let's see. Okay. Where people from all over the city came to purchase what had been brought. Purchase the goods within the cart. Okay. Okay, comma there. Okay. Where people from all over the city came to purchase the goods within the cart. Within an hour, the cart was empty. Well, that didn't last long, Tahir grumbled, absently scratching his arm, taking note that not only was it itching more, but it was also beginning to feel warm. Yes, that's what I thought. It never does, my friend. Here is the remainder of your payment, the driver said, holding out a small pouch with coins in it. Tahir grabbed it away, pouring its contents into the pouch on his belt. Aren't you going to count it? The driver asked. Tahir only tied the empty bag up and gave it back to the driver. When are you leaving next? He asked bluntly. The driver waved his hand. I won't be leaving for another couple of days. That's what I thought, yet. But there is a merchant friend of mine named Halsar. I received a message from him asking if I knew any mercenaries that would do him a favor. What is he paying? Let's see. What's he paying? He didn't say, but knowing him, he is paying well. He's paying well. I received the message while I was in Orion, and he said that by the time we returned, he would be renegotiating a trade deal with the king for transporting food from the Adil states. He might even still be in the palace. Tahir nodded with an agitated sigh. He didn't like merchants to begin with. Why is that? Huh. Let's see. They were all greedy fat men. But the work would keep his mind busy. Let's see. which is really what he wanted. Which is what he really wanted. Okay, let's try it, see what happens. Okay, hold on. I think I need to reload this really quick. So, give me a second here. Let's see. No, we want to do... Uh-oh. What happened here? Hold on. Okay. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. So first, I'm going to do this. I think the Grammarly was glitching out. That's why it was... Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Alright, so now we can do something. Alright, here we go. Which Tahir wanted. Okay. But the work would keep his mind busy, which Tahir wanted. Let's see. Once he had signed his contract with the driver, signifying... Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Signifying the job was complete, he headed straight to the healers. His sting wound was really beginning to ache. Okay. His sting wound was beginning to ache, and the itching was so... let's see. There we go. And the itching was so bad that he had... Nope. And the itching was so bad that he had scratched his skin raw. It was a deep internal itch that couldn't be reached from the surface of his skin. Unreachable. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I want to do this. I hate when I fat finger some keys sometimes. It was a deep internal itch, unreachable from the surface of his skin. Something worse is going on here, he thought. The healer gave Tahir an antidote and put ointment on the wound, calming the itching and burning. Additionally, the healer gave him a small jar of salve to apply to... Additionally, the healer gave him a small jar of salve to apply until the wound had healed over. With that taken care of, he made his way to the palace in search of this merchant. Okay, the palace, searching for this merchant. For the driver's merchant friend. Okay, with that taken care of, he went to the palace, searching for the driver's merchant friend. He was allowed in, escorted by the captain of the guard, Tygoon, to the conference room. Okay, where two more guards stood on either side of the finely carved door. He should be in here. The conference sounds as if sounds like it is still in progress, but I'm sure you can be allowed in. The conference is... okay. Well, you can be allowed in. Should you need anything, please tell the guards here, Tygoon instructed before leaving back for the main gate. Tahir nodded his thanks and entered, taking a seat in the back and scanning the room of those present. There was the king and queen, the prince, what appeared to be an advisor or two, and a chubby, wealthy-looking man sitting across from the king and queen. Okay, we're going to do this. Okay. The wealthy-looking... Okay. There was the king and queen, the prince, what appeared to be an advisor or two, and a chubby, wealthy-looking man sitting across from the king and queen. Let's see. Taking a seat, Tahir drowned out the conversation with his own thoughts. With his thoughts, which turned to the creatures he had faced. There was something ghoulish about them, almost as if they weren't alive, and the smell they exuded if you got too close. The pang of rotting meat and old wood. What would cause such a thing to happen to live creatures? His thoughts were cut short when the meeting looked as if it had ended, and the wealthy man began walking toward the door Tahir had come in. Let's get rid of that. And then we'll do this. Interrupted. When the meeting ended, and the wealthy man began walking toward the door. Excuse me, would you happen to be Halsar? The man stopped, and half nodded, half bowed to him. And half nodded, half... Make up your mind, yes or no? Okay, yes. I am he. What can I do for you, good sir? Now, so like the guy I'm thinking of here. Give me a second. The guy I am thinking of. He reminds me. Or, you know what? We'll just do it another time. But the guy I'm thinking of, Halsar. Oh, you know what? I know. Give me a second here. Okay, let's see. Is it the guy's name? It was a different name. Give me a second here. I need to look this up really quick. But anyways, the guy I'm thinking of, the NPC from Maplestory, he reminds me a lot of the king from Aladdin. You know, kind of like a short, chubby guy with the big poofy hat. Let me see. Okay, let's see. Let me see if I can find out. Okay. Oh, Hastar. That's the guy's name. I'm pretty sure. Oh, Hatsar. Hatsar. That's the guy's name. I knew I was having trouble finding it. Let's see if I can... Hatzar, servant... No. No. It's... Okay. Let me see. Seriously? I can't find it? Oh well. I'll see if I can find him somewhere along the way. But that's what he kind of reminds me of is the king from Aladdin. That's kind of what he reminds me of. Anyways, I am he. What can I do for you, good sir? I was sent here by a friend of yours. He tells me that you are having some trouble with your trade route and looking for some way to alleviate that problem. Halsar smacked his lips, and he began speaking once as he began speaking once more. Ah, yes. Walk with me to my office. I will explain along the way. Halsar smiled, holding his hand forward for Tahir to walk through the door before him. As my friend said, I am having trouble with my trade route to Arentia. I don't want to... That's the name of the place they're in right now. And while I do need help with it, it does not solve the larger problem. I don't like riddles. What is it you need? Tahir asked, already regretting taking up the offer for the job. Halsar looked... Nope, 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 nope. Get rid of that. Halsar looked to him for a moment, then let out a hearty laugh. I like your fire. What is your name? I am Tahir. Very well then, Tahir. Very well then, Tahir. The larger problem are the creatures that have been attacking not only my wagons, but also fellow merchants and friends of mine. There we go. Okay. The larger problem is the creatures that have been attacking not only my wagons, I want to do this, my wagons, but also fellow merchants and friends of mine. It has steadily been getting worse. What I need you to do is find someone for me. Tahir raised an eyebrow as they neared Halsar's merchant office, standing at the door as he reached into his coat and pulled a finely crafted brass key from it. I'll have you know that while I do on occasion kill, I am not an assassin. Halsar opened the door, looking back to him with a horrified look on his face. Looking back at him. Good heavens, no! Okay, I see. With a horrified look. Good heavens, no! I am asking you to search for someone that could put a stop to this whole thing. Okay, who could stop this whole thing? Oh, come on, what do you... Okay, I'll just leave that like that. I like it like that. Halsar exclaimed, lighting a lamp and quickly lighting others around the main room where they had entered. Tahir narrowed his eyes. There had been a group that promised that very thing 9 years ago. Was there another man besides them? Okay, so I gotta pause here for a second. I gotta have a drink of water. All right. Have you heard of of one called the White Mage? Halsar asked. Tyr searched his memory for mention of the name, but nothing came to mind and shook his head. But nothing came to mind. That name does not sound familiar. He was said to have been a great mage, helping people wherever he could. He was a mage who could use light as his power. It was even said. It was even said he could touch the sun itself and not burn. Sun and not burn. It is he that could stop these creatures making It is he that could stop these creatures from making trouble for all us merchants. For all of us merchants. Okay. Okay, wait. We're going to do this. It was said he could even... He could stop these creatures from making trouble for all of us merchants. But no one knows where to find him. Or even if he exists. Some say they've met him. Some even living here in Arentia. But so much time has gone by that many are considering him nothing more than a folk tale. The mention of light made Tahir sneer to himself, still holding on to the rage he harbored toward that sect. And you want me to go and find him. If this man is as great as you say he is, why would he want to come and work for you? Why would he even consider it? For something as sweet as the clink of money, anyone would do anything. Wealth is a weakness shared by all, even myself. Halsar laughed, but Tahir kept a straight face. If you find him, bring him back here, and I will pay you 3 times your weight in gold. Here is a down payment for supplies and traveling expenses. Halsar chortled, holding out a rather... Okay. Holding out a large bag of... Chortled. No, we'll leave that. Holding out a large bag of coins and dropping it into Tahir's hand. It was at least twice what Hilda had paid him, and he still had the majority of that. He still had most of that on him. But searching for someone like this white mage without any leads could be a difficult and long journey. Very well, I accept. Payment will only come if and when I find him and bring him back here to you. Okay, so give me a second here. I need to check something on my end. Oh, we got another viewer in the chat. Welcome. I hope you were at least mildly entertained by what you see here in a minute. I just need to check something on my end before we continue. Okay, good. All right. So, we should be okay. All right. Very well. I accept. Payment will only come if and when I find him and bring him back here to you. Then let it be, Halsar bellowed, holding out his hand as Tahir shook it firmly. I guess I should mention this chapter, and perhaps even the next 2 or 3 chapters in this story, mirror very closely to the Grand Athenium chapter for the White Mage. That one does a very different job, but this, what I have done here, kind of lines up with the internal story that I have created for myself. But you know, feel free to check it out. You can look it up on YouTube. It's called the Grand Athenium. Look up the Maplestory Grand Athenium Chapter 1, and it should give you like the whole story, which is canon to the game. What I am reading here is not canon to the game in pretty much any sense of the word. It's parallel, but not canon. Halsar drew up a contract with a stated payment schedule, which they both signed. Tahir then took a day to gather supplies, ensuring he had food and water to last at least a week's worth. However, it came at quite a cost, since the foodstuffs were being carefully rationed. Okay, we're going to get rid of that. Since the foodstuffs were carefully rationed. As he gathered supplies, he made small talk with the townsfolk. I guess townspeople. Oh, and for the viewer that just joined, if you so desire, there is a link to a playlist in the description below that of music that I am listening to, just so that way it's not just so boring listening to me talk. I am listening to the video in that playlist called Thunder Warrior, and the particular song I am listening to is at the 53-minute mark. I believe it is called More Than Human. But in either case, check it out if you so desire. If not, oh well, you can just listen to my boring voice. As he gathered supplies, he made small talk with the townspeople, finding out who it was that had supposedly met this elusive white mage and where he might be found. Some of the stories he heard said that he was a lover to the last fairy in Usoria. Lover of the last fairy in Usoria, living near a massive tree in the center of the continent. In the continent's center, okay. Others said that he had traveled into to the forests of Elinda, west of that central tree. Still others said that he had disappeared into a wooded area near the East Dragon Forest. It may take him the whole year to search that much ground alone. Then again, this is for the greater good, he muttered, just as the sun was coming up on the next day. So, viewers in the chat, how are you doing this evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you're coming from? Just making conversation here. He put on his backpack, locked the door to his house, and set out for the rumored central tree. The food he had purchased would be enough to see him to a trading post in the north, but it would be a lonely journey. Luckily, there were other merchants or travelers at the post who were heading in the direction Tahir was going. While traveling with them, he asked about their knowledge of the White Mage. Some offered information directing him towards the East Dragon Forest. Most only repeated legends or told new ones that he hadn't yet heard. The central tree left him speechless at its size. Learning it was said to be the home of the deity of life, Heim. With some careful wording and a bit of luck, he found Heim himself. After some conversation, Tahir found that Heim personally knew the White Mage, confirming many of the leads he had found. It was to the East Dragon Forest that he would need to go. Let's see. Herd is really what we need. For the next 3 months, Tahir offered his blade in service to many merchants and travelers heading in the general direction he aimed for. Many times, his travels and contracts would bring him close to his goal, only to take him away again. At last, he stepped to the to the forest's edge in the abandoned city of Lifra. Let's see, I think it's this. So many travels had brought him to this point, as well as many stories from many people about the White Mage, helping them in their or as well as many stories from many people about the White Mage helping them in their time of need. Perhaps there is more to this than mere legend, Tahir chuckled to himself. Regardless of his arrival, there was still a vast forest to search, according to the maps that he had brought with him. And that could take years. Time he felt... Come on. Time he felt he didn't have. There was also the reminder of his arm as he reached up to absently massage it. Over time, he had been applying the salve to ease the itching, but the antidote he had received... He had received either wasn't working, or there was more damage to his arm than he realized. Every time he pulled away the bandage to apply more salve, he would notice there were wet flakes of something within the wound. Sometimes he swore he could see small wisps of ash drifting up from the wound. Tiny wisps, okay. It may not be good, but it wasn't slowing him down either at this point. Perhaps this White Mage would be able to do something about it. I should start by looking for that fairy that was his lover. She might know where to find him, he thought, stepping into the forest, trying to determine where a fairy like that would even be. Every fairy was exterminated. Every fairy had been exterminated well before he was burned. Let's see. Well before he was born. At least, that is what he thought. For nearly an hour, he searched for any sign to indicate where this fairy was, finally leaning against an old and split tree to catch his breath. No sooner had he begun to lean against it than it moved away. Light began to emanate from cracks in the wood, giving the whole place a chilling blue-green glow.
What is your business in the forest, human?
A low, resonant voice asked. The tree turned around, revealing glowing eyes. Tahir backed away in a leap, drawing his dagger ready to fight. I come seeking the white mage. I was told that I might find him here. The creature creaked as it turned to face him full on, its long arms swaying to the front, where carvings created a vest-like design on its body.
It has been many moons since I have heard that name. But, alas, you will not find him here.
Then can you tell me where I can find him? Tahir asked, his hands still shaking, barely holding on to his dagger.
The last I spoke to him, he had moved into the Forest of Peace. It is there that almost no light shines, and where he said that he would best be able to study darkness. It is also there that he took 2 of my forest spirits.
The creature creaked, pointing east through the trees that had grown tightly together, even more so further in. Okay, got a couple minutes. Let's see if we can finish this up, because we're on... Oh, nope. I don't think we're going to make it. We are just barely going to make it. Not make it. Because I have to go to bed here in a little while. Because I have work to do in the morning. And all that good stuff. Let's see. So, yeah. I'm going to, off camera, I'm going to edit the rest of this and make sure that we have a good thing going here. But for the most part, thank you for coming, for those of you who did. And this next coming weekend, I will be doing more of Friend's Story, of Maplestory. I just finished the latest thing of Maplestory the Novel, Chapter 16.5, Part 3. It is up for your viewing pleasure, so I hope you go and check it out. And if you did like it, leave a comment down below and say what you like. I know I didn't have a clip for today. I will see if I can get it out tomorrow for sure. Work got away from me, and trying to finish up the video at the same time, it just, bleh. I got a little busy IRL. But yeah, so thanks for coming.
Thanks everyone for coming. I hope you were at least mildly entertained by what you saw, and I hope that you'll be back next week to do it again. If you want to be notified when I go live, be sure and become a coin in the vault by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell. Be sure and have a look around the channel and check out Maplestory the Novel, Sacred Tears, Sly Cooper, Rise of Vexen, or Arcane, all of which are fully voice acted with sound effects and music. Don't forget to comment and tell the voice actors just how good they did, because without them, it wouldn't be as awesome. I hope to see you guys next time, so until then, my friends.